Hello, ladies. I am so happy and so excited to have you both here at our training event tonight. And I'm very happy to introduce you to each other and to the audience. So we have Rachael Jarosh, and Rachael is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Enactus, Enactus Global. And she joined Enactus in 2016, and since a few years, I have had the pleasure to experience firsthand how she is driving innovation to create greater impact for participating Enactus students, but also worldwide for the countless communities where the students are addressing societal challenges. Also here with us is Mercy, Mercy Nafullah. Mercy is a student at the University of Hasselt. She is in her last year, so she's almost graduating in a Master of Management with a specialization on strategy and innovation. Mercy is passionate about nature and other cultures, and she loves hiking and meeting these other cultures. And this also explained why she joined Enactus. And at Enactus, she can concentrate on sustainability and social entrepreneurship. And those are all areas that you're very excited about. So, Mercy, the floor is yours. You can get started with your questions for Rachael.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have 3 questions and a last one. So I will start immediately with the first question. We understand that Enactus community is really large with almost 72,000 students in 37 countries. And we know that Belgium is the latest addition to this community. We are still a relatively small group of students. Do you have any specific message for Enactus students in Belgium, or any recommendations you would make to us, Rachael?
Well, Mercy, first of all, thank you for the question, and thank you for hosting today. It's such a pleasure to be here. It is always my favorite thing to do, which is to spend time talking to Enactus students around the world. And thank you to all of the students who are watching today, because you are the pioneers. So I certainly have a special message for you. And the first one is one of gratitude. I always start with gratitude. But what you're doing is hard. Starting something new is hard, especially when your focus is not only creating a better world, but also recruiting other students and helping tell the story of Enactus. Telling the story of what we aim to do is almost as important as achieving it. Because as we all know, the saying, if a tree falls in the woods and no one hears it, doesn't matter. In the same way, the work that you are doing to create a better world and to focus on sustainability in a new way is vital to all of our futures. But ensuring that others know it, especially your peers, is vital. Because you, every one of you, are our future. If you aren't committed to a better, more sustainable world, we won't achieve it. And so my recommendation to you is to think about how you tell that story as you go forward, but always remember the resilience, ingenuity, creativity that you're bringing right now to this new program. You are already driving a startup, and you are already creating a positive impact by attracting other students to our work. So thank you so much for that. You do join a huge network of 72,000 students, and we'll be talking a little bit about this later, but I can't wait to introduce you to more of them.
Thank you very much for the very valuable recommendations. So we'll go to our second question, which is about the current situation that we are facing right now due to Corona. It has hit all of us and affected our projects in different ways, that some teams are going with the same projects and some teams are changing and having a new project. So you must meet a lot of Enactus students and alumni from across the globe. So what are some of the nicest examples of resilience and creativity or innovation you have seen from these Enactus students around the world?
Thank you for the question. There are literally thousands of examples, and it's quite overwhelming, frankly, to understand and appreciate how remarkable the students around the world have been in adapting quickly. And we know that adaptation and resilience are key to leadership. We're certainly seeing it happen right now. And it was really through the Ford COVID Challenge, which ran in March and April with the Ford Fund, that we started to see firsthand some of the ways that teams were pivoting and adapting their work. So let me first talk about one that I thought was especially interesting in Ghana. In Ghana, there are 8 million students who were impacted by school closures, and the team there was already working on an online learning curriculum to reach vulnerable populations, either those who weren't in school or weren't in school consistently. But when COVID hit, they started to think about other vulnerable populations that they could extend their work to. And they have developed the first comprehensive online sign language tutorial and education learning to ensure that students who have hearing challenges are also served. In India also started to think about vulnerable populations in a new way. In particular, one team who started to think about those who need medications but live in some of the most vulnerable areas. They've developed an automated drone transportation system and are working with pharmacies to deliver medications to people in areas of need. And then in Brazil, a much less sophisticated technologically, but much as important and critical program. And that is a group that was working with unemployed women on a circular economy business to create new fashion. They had been doing a wonderful job, and their products had been really catching hold in the marketplace. They were employing a large number of women and attracting more when the virus hit. They immediately responded by starting to sew masks instead of their regular fashion pieces. But in particular, they wanted to create masks that served vulnerable populations. So again, thinking about the deaf community, they started to sew masks with thin, clear plastic pieces over the mouth so that those who are deaf could still read lips. And they're doing it by recycling clear plastics. So once again, another incredibly creative solution by students who are demonstrating their ability to adapt quickly. And when we talk about leadership skills at Enactus, we know that there are two core components: resilience, of course, and adaptation. We're seeing it over and over again. But one of the other things that's really come up in trainings around the world among students, and we've been talking a lot about, is what does leadership mean at a time of crisis? Leadership is always a challenging endeavor, and I am always impressed by the leadership skills of our students. But in particular, we've seen the compassion that comes with strong leadership as well. I was on a call last week with students from Puerto Rico, Guatemala, and Mexico, and we spent a fair bit of time talking about how to inspire your team during a time like this, how to make sure that they're doing okay and that they can still contribute. So once again, the fundamentals of Enactus teamwork come into play even as we adapt, and perhaps are more important than ever. So I'm encouraged to see the training, excuse me, that's happening today, and excited to hear a little bit about it when it's over.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Okay, the third question. We've had and also want to believe that the skills that Enactus students develop will serve us for the rest of our lives. But we already see that from examples that you have given, where students are using these projects even in times of crisis to change the situation of people living around their communities. Have you got any evidence on that? Wait a minute. We've had and also want to believe that the skills that Enactus students develop will serve us for the rest of our lives. Have you got any evidence on that? Feedback from employers? We can use these in our recruitment efforts to attract new students to join Enactus.
Absolutely. So one of the first things that we started after I joined Enactus in 2017 was something I hope you've all heard about and have already participated in, and that's the Enactus Student Impact Survey. Yeah. So we look at the impact of the impact of Enactus, from two perspectives. First and foremost, project work, and then close second, the impact on students and your availability and adaptability to the marketplace. So we measure the impact of Enactus participation on students through that survey around the world. And from that, we know two very important things. First of all, Enactus students in every country outperform their peers on the very skills enumerated by the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. It means that you're better prepared for your career as a result of your Enactus experience. We also benchmark against something called the Gallup-Purdue Data Study. It's an index that looks at what experiences lead to career success. And when we talk about career success, I'm not only focused on salary, though that is a component, but how many promotions do you get in your first 10 years of your career? How happy are you in your career? How much contentment do you exhibit and express about your career choices, say 10 years after you graduate? We know that Enactus students out-index the Gallup-Purdue Index 3-to-1. That means that perhaps most importantly, one of the things that students find most through Enactus is a sense of purpose and an alignment of your work and your skills to your own personal purpose. That's hard work. Many of us, and I can speak for myself, having started out my career as an attorney, didn't find that for many years. The earlier that you can identify that in the process, the more likely you are to choose a career path that leads you to a sense of satisfaction. And that's what we all seek after all. Money is nice. Other rewards are nice, but that sense of personal satisfaction, I think, is what compels all of us. And so for that reason, we know that Enactus has a dramatic impact on student success, student satisfaction, and impact on the world, because you carry your priorities into your job, which is why employers like Unilever at one end of the spectrum, all the way to the smallest local employers, prefer hiring Enactus students. Employers also see that data and understand that students, as you define your purpose through our work together, find a way to the best jobs for them. And when you find the right job for you, you have the energy, creativity, and impetus to succeed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is a very valuable information for us, because Enactus UHasselt, this is our first year, and most of us are in our last years, will be graduating. So it will be very important to get more students to join, because we want to continue and grow within UHasselt.
Well,
okay.
If I could add one thing, there's another piece of that that's very important. Around the world, 94% of students in Enactus say they would recommend it to another student.
Yeah.
And they don't do it because of these skills necessarily. They do it because of the teamwork, the camaraderie, the impact that you are making immediately. But being able to articulate all of that is really critical to attract other students, but also really critical to employers.
So maybe one final super fast question.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, the last one.
The very last one.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Rachael. Thank you so much. And so normally we would be able to meet each other in person in Utrecht in September, but this is not possible anymore because of the situation. So everything is being moved online. Can you share some final words about it? And is it worth to participate in? Can you also mention some exciting elements of the program?
Absolutely. Absolutely, it's worth logging in. So first of all, like all of you, I'm a bit sad that we won't meet in person in the fall, but I'm more excited about the opportunity online. I'm enjoying this conversation very much. I wish I could have it with a broader group today, but I will tell you that at the World Cup, we intend to attract tens of thousands of Enactus students over a period of days to meet one another. There are many more opportunities we're going to be able to create online than we could in person, simply because of the cost of travel and the burden of travel for so many students. So normally the Enactus World Cup attracts about 2,000 students. This year, we hope to bring at least 10,000 students together. And of course, we'll include the traditional competition, which is the core of the World Cup, but we have lots of ways and some plans in process to figure out how to connect students directly to one another around issues that matter. To me, being part of Enactus is really about being a global citizen and part of a community that is focused on a better, more sustainable world. So for me, the opportunity is to figure out how best to bring more students into that conversation with each other, but also an intimate conversation with some of the greatest minds of the world and strongest business leaders of the world, as businesses too struggle with what the future looks like. It will be important for our students to learn from what those struggles are, because you indeed will help shape how we solve them. So I'm super excited about the World Cup this year, actually, and I think that we will learn some things from this year that we'll take forward, even if we do, and when we do, come back together in person in 2021 and beyond. So please sign up today. Lettermike, I'm sure will share later how to do that, but note that we are also want to hear from you. We are still planning. We have another month of planning for the World Cup, and we would love your ideas. We would love to hear what you would like to see as part of the World Cup. But most of all, I'm hoping to see you all there in September.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to ask Lettermike to continue.
Yeah, no, thanks so much, both of you. We will surely meet again online. We're
Definitely
going to be there with a very large Belgian delegation, I promise you. And anyways, thanks so much, and good luck, Rachel, with later with the US Expo, the Enactus US Expo, and see you soon.
Thank you both very much. It was a pleasure. See you soon and stay healthy.
You too.
Bye-bye.